everybody, it's Tracy Napotnick from salontraining.com. I am here with Kim Russel, someone that I adore what she teaches just because it is so needed in life in general, also in the beauty industry. But I think what she has to offer just helps everybody, like no matter no matter what career they're in. I think it's amazing. So she was at the Pennsylvania Beauty Pros show. So if you got to see her live, I'm sure you had a great class because I have heard really great things. And Kim was just telling me she had great feedback too. So hopefully when we are done, her and I will have a conversation about her attending next year. So
I would love to.
I know people want you back, so that's really great. Okay, so we're going to talk today about who Kim Russel is for those of you that may not know her yet, because I'm just getting to learn to know her over this past year, and she's really awesome. Her Facebook groups and I constantly watched her and was like, I think for about a year, Kim, right? I was just like messaging you. I'm like, I like what you have. All right, so who are you, Kim? How long have you been in the industry?
Whew, I have been in the industry almost 40 years, believe it or not. I graduated hairdressing school 16 years old. I was a youngin', maybe I just turned 17. I was already working in the industry, I already had a job. I opened my salon at 25, absolutely clueless. I was in business for 30 years. I recently just closed my salon to pursue writing a book and speaking and workshops and all of the fun things. That's like a condensed version of my life right there.
Well, not to go down a rabbit hole right now, but when do you think your book is going to be open or available? I mean,
Ooh, I just sent it for the second edit this morning.
oh my gosh. Okay. So
I have been working like crazy.
that's so cool. Maybe we can, if we have time, I'd like to go back to that because I want to find out what it's about. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. So how scary was it to close your salon? Because I did the same thing and I felt like, oh, I don't know, this isn't right. And then it's right, right?
I knew it was right the second I did it, but honestly, it probably should have happened 5 years before.
Okay.
And I really didn't want to come back after COVID. I was kind of done, but I was hanging out in my place in Maine, enjoying life, feeling great. I never felt better, but I didn't want to let down my team. I didn't want them to have to find a place to go. And I didn't want my clients of 30 years to have to figure out where they were going to go to get their hair done after 4 months. So I opened back up, but and then my body crashed. My body told me it's not what you're supposed to be doing right now. So I wasn't behind the chair for about a year, and then I decided to close it.
Interesting. Our lives always take us on different paths. And I think sometimes we feel like we have to stay for other people. I was in the same situation. I didn't want my team down. I didn't want to let this down. And we just redid the salon. And after COVID, I started working on salontraining.com. And I said, well, this is kind of fun. I've been doing hair for 30 years. It's a different aspect. And I think sometimes we all get there. And that's the beautiful thing about life. We have choices. I miss my salon dearly. I miss my clients like insanely and my team members. But you're meant to do other things, I think, sometimes too. So
absolutely. And I own the building where the salon is, so it was easy for me to close down. So the salon is still here.
Oh, nice.
I work 2 days a week behind the chair. I just picked a few clients and I love doing hair. I didn't realize how much I really missed that piece of it. So I feel like I have a good balance now. It's really nice.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Oh, okay. So you have a lot of different things under your plate of what you teach. And I know one of your important things that you always talk about is past trauma. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It is, could trauma or past stories be getting in the way of our successes? So let's talk about that. What does that mean?
That means, and I really speak from my own experiences and how my own trauma really got in the way of my leadership, me as a stylist, with my team members. We talk a lot in the industry about, feeling worthy, charge your worth. And if you don't feel worthy, if you've had some kind of trauma, you've had abuse, that unworthiness is just in you. You have to figure out how to get to the root of the problem. Like, you can't just wake up and I feel worthy. You can't do the affirmations every day. You will help, but if you don't get to that root cause of the trauma and how it's impacting your career and how to manage it, because trauma doesn't go away. Trauma sits in our body, sits in our nervous system, changes the way our brains operate forever. what I've learned over the past, couple years, really diving in on how my trauma has impacted me.
Do you care to talk about your trauma? Because I know you've talked about it before. And
Yeah, I'm an open book, as you say. Yeah, so I at 1 year old, I was abandoned in a car. I spent 4 years in the foster care system, and I was later adopted by my foster parents, who also came with their own set of stuff. And within those first 5 years, that is an important time for a child to develop, their brain to develop. So at a very early age, I was taught that the world was very scary and to not trust anybody, keep my guard up. I had walls. I had so much of abandonment issues that I was trying to sort out. If a team member left, we all have that kind of like, oh, you take it a little personal and your feelings hurt, but I was like next level, that abandonment was huge. So it impacted. Oh, God.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say it impacted every area of my life, my career, my relationships, my friendships, my, everything.
So how did you get starting to talk about this with other people? Sometimes people hold this in for a lifetime and they never let it out, and they never help others with their stories, because your story can help other people, of course.
One of the things I say in my book, I talk about a lot, is the people that come into our life when we need them the most. And you don't even realize when they cross your path just how much or you need them or how important they really are. And when I was 29, I had, I'm going to say 27, I had one of my first employees. And she had already been in therapy, and she took one look at me and she said, "You know what, you have abandonment issues." I was like, "What the heck are you talking about? I don't even know what that word means." And she kept talking about therapy. I'm like, physical therapy? Like, why would I need physical therapy? But as time went on, I started going to therapy at 29. I did talk therapy. And what I've learned now more about trauma is that if you do have childhood trauma under the age of 5, talk therapy really isn't the thing that's going to do you the most healing. It's different because your brain is just rewired completely different. So I did talk therapy. And then shortly after that, I did dream therapy, which was kind of crazy.
What
So I
is
did
dream therapy?
both of them for 12 years. Well, so I was having, since I was a very, very small child, I had crazy dreams, like nightmares. They were awful. And I kept that a secret because I thought it was crazy, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm just a lunatic with these dreams. And again, very random, I found out that there was an adoption convention. Never saw it again. Don't even know where I saw the flyer for it, but I signed up and I went, and there was one guy there who was doing a workshop on dreams and adoptees and how we all have these similar dreams and how we process them. I took his workshop, and I was so scared, and I was going to finally tell my big secret about my dreams, and I was ready for him to just run away from me. And it so happened that he ran a dream therapy group, and he just had one opening and asked me if I'd like to join him. And I did. And I did it for 12 years. And it was really like next level, what kind of getting to the emotions of the trauma. It was so different than talk therapy. Kind of crazy, right?
That's interesting. My dad actually always talked about different dreams and different things like that. And he was, that's a whole story too. Like he had a couple, there was 4 of them, siblings, and then his dad died in a plane crash in front of his mother, and his mother witnessed it, and then all the kids got separated into foster homes and stuff like that. So he had a lot of issues growing up too. And that's interesting. I would love to definitely look into that, because I remember him always talking about his dreams being different. So that's interesting.
And basically, the whole definition of it was that we weren't able to process our emotions during the day. Like we couldn't, they were so overwhelming, and you couldn't make it through your day to day if you did have these emotions during the day. So at night, when your body relaxed, shut down, your brain was just trying to sort out and process all of this stuff for you. Wow. And when you read the book, you'll know exactly
how
they happened. I can't give it all away,
I know. I'm really excited to read your book. Okay. So what does this have to do with anything with hair? Sometimes people see different things being brought in. They're like, oh, that's not hair related. Obviously, everything is related in a sense. Like, so why do you teach this to hairdressers?
I think so many of us struggle with that, going up to the front desk and charging and hiding and making somebody else cash our client out. Like, where does that come from? That's what it is. Where does that come from? When you come in early and you stay late and you don't have the boundaries, where is that coming from? Why do you feel like you have to people please? I mean, there's just so many different layers of trauma that impacts us. And I don't think we think of it that way. And there's so much buzz out there about boundaries and charging your worth. And I'm like, whoa, like, let's hold for a second, because there's so much more to that than just walking into the salon one day and being like, I'm worthy. It's just, I'm never going to come in early again for another client. Like, why do we, I speak from my own experience, because when that client approached me and they're like, well, I really need to come in earlier than that. And I would always, no, okay, maybe, let me see what I can do. Sure. So it didn't take much to beat me down. And what was that? Like, I had to get to the root of that. Like, why did I feel like I couldn't say no to them? And the whole bottom line for me was I was so afraid to not be liked, and I was so afraid to be abandoned. They were going to leave and I would feel abandoned, even though most of them should have gone anyways, but that's another story. But that was really the root of it. And I just think there's so many of us that struggle with that in this industry. We're such a creative, beautiful, caring, loving industry, and so many of us in the industry and beyond have stories that we just haven't sorted out. And I talk about my leadership too, and how it, my trauma impacted my team. It impacted their worthiness because I didn't feel worthy, so they weren't charging enough. I didn't have clear boundaries with them, so I held them back just as much as I held myself back.
When you said about the front desk, this makes total sense. Like, I'm visioning my salon and my team members through the years, and I can see like the ones that would be up ringing their own clients and have no problem. Okay, it's $300, it's $200, whatever it is. They were brought up differently, as far as I could just visualize seeing some of this. Like, they had money and they were brought up different. And this isn't all of them. And if any of you guys are listening, I'm not singling anybody out. It's just like, I just had an aha moment. And some of the not younger ones, but some of the other ones, I should say, maybe the ones that they didn't grow up as much, and they were fighting to get a car, and they were fighting for, whatever. They're the ones I think that had a little bit more trouble going up and saying, it's $100 or $50 or $300. And yeah, they would be the runner away of the desk. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's challenging. And then you just feel so bad afterwards, and you beat yourself up. Like, that you're worth whatever it is, but you just can't bring yourself to feel that way.
Right. I always said to my team and to people that I was helping in the salon industry that we always have a scary number, right? We always have a scary number of what we should charge. And it's because what we would pay, or what we think, the value of that is too. So I love this topic, because I think it happens in every single salon,
And it is like you pointed out, how we grew up with money too. And we didn't have anything, my parents that fostered us, we were in the projects of an inner city, we were emergency placement, they had to take us on all of a sudden. And so money was always, I talk about buying grapes, every time we went to the grocery store, this is in the book, every time we went to the grocery store, I would say to my mother, can we get grapes? No, they're too expensive. And my whole goal was to get myself to a point where I could just buy the stinking grapes and not have to think about it. But when you're brought up like that, you always think about it. Mm-hmm. It really takes a lot of work to not, oh, I can't afford that. Oh no, I shouldn't do that. But I could spend money on everybody else. That wasn't a problem. I could give people thousands of dollars and not think about it, because they were worth it, but I was not.
Wow.
I could talk about this all day.
That is a big moment, right? What you just said. Can you repeat that for our audience?
What did I say? I could spend thousands of dollars on other people because they were worth it and I was not.
Wow. Hearing that, I am sure a lot of people go through that too. Like, we become givers to other people, but not to ourselves sometimes. So what do you tell like a salon owner? I remember sitting down with some team members and talking to them about, listen, you got to charge, blah, blah, blah. We all hear that. But what do you tell people as far as like how to coach your team members, how to get them through different things? Because, there's a fine line sometimes of what we can ask and what we can't ask about their boundaries and what their traumas are. But I think it's important for us to know sometimes.
Well, one thing that you're never going to hear me say is, I have 5 things that's going to heal your trauma. It's everybody's trauma is different. Everybody manages it different, handles it different. So as far as my team members, like I always say, all the broken birds would come to my salon. I think that's just how it worked. And the first thing I would do, I was hired from the vocational school. So they were young. And the first thing I did was put them on a budget and teach them about money and teach them how to save and start there. And then it would just grow from there. And they would, and I talk about boundaries. Yes, mine probably weren't the best boundaries. I was taking some of my team members to, teen children of adult addicts. I don't even know the name of it, driving them there and doing stuff like that. Probably not the best thing, but at the same time, I do think that your team members need somebody to show up and love them and care about them when nobody else does. So I don't know if it's necessarily about teaching them as much as it is being there for them and setting the example that they can do and be whatever they want.
Something just made me sad that you said sometimes it might not be the best thing or that for you to do as an owner, but I don't know. I'm totally the opposite. I think sometimes it is the best thing. And I'm so sick and tired of this world saying that we shouldn't do that because we might get sued, or we shouldn't do this. And yes, that's scary as heck, but to have someone, for them to be that broken bird come to you and you have that passion to say, you know what, I don't care about the rules. Sometimes we have to throw these rules out, right?
I
And
agree.
you see that bird and you're helping them. I just think that's incredible. That just shows you what a person you are too. So.
And I think as leaders, it's not just our job to teach them how to do hair, it's to teach them how to do life.
Yep.
So if they leave and they have a little bit more confidence and a little bit more security, and they just continue to build off of that as time goes on, then my job is done. Doesn't matter what they do. I don't care.
I love it. So if you have a stylist listening or someone, even an owner listening right now, and they're personally going through something like this, or they're watching a team member go through this, or them themselves, what is your first thing that you suggest? I know you said there's not 5 things. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, what do you suggest that they start with?
Just talking to them. That's it. Talking to them, or send them to me. They can DM me. I'll chat with them. Doesn't matter. I think just opening the conversation. Are you okay? How can I help? Like, that's my favorite line. How can I help?
Okay. And where do you, going back to the rules and the laws, so whenever you do have someone that comes up to a salon owner and stylist, I say this from personal experience. One time I remember going through and we had like, the girls, if you're listening, you remember sometimes of our 14-hour meetings, like we would plan full days and we would talk about like how to do hair and how to do customer service and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But the main part of that was life stuff. It was like budgeting and stuff like that. And we would do these videos that would say about these people that lost their legs or their arms, and they still became, and people that were raped and people that were this or that. They had bad things that happened in their life. And I think that's why I connected with you so well. It's because you just, that's life. It happens. And how do we help these people? And, I had someone tell me the one time, like, you should not be discussing that with your team members, like not at all. And I said, you know what? They don't have to participate in all that. They have to show up for the meeting, but they don't have to write down their answers on certain things if they choose not to. They don't have to do this part. They don't have, they don't have to share if they don't want to. We always made that, obvious to them. You can participate in this part or you don't have to. But sometimes, what if you have an owner that doesn't know how to talk about that? So we're suggesting that you talk about it, but they're not licensed, they're not skilled, they're not, that's not their forte. So what do you say to an owner that doesn't want to take on that responsibility? Like, where do you lead them to?
I mean, I would suggest them getting help. But this is a hard question for me because I do think that everything starts from the top down. So I would probably challenge the owner and say, what is it about you that you can't, ask them how you can help them or what it is they need? Because I would think, there's something in you that's keeping you from being able to communicate with them about that.
Even if you,
I
found
mean,
out, even if
touchy
you found out some,
subject,
what's that?
touchy subject,
Yes,
but
it is, because you have two sides. Like, you are not allowed, you're not this, you're not that.
yeah.
Just like you said, just asking them, are you okay? Is there anything I could do? Or just, are you okay? Is there anything I could do? And then guide them to like phone numbers or resources in their community
Mhm.
that might be able to help them, correct?
Yeah, resources and, have lunch with them. Don't have a meeting in the salon, just be there for them. That's what most of them need. And they slowly open up, slowly, just they trust you. And that's part of trauma. Trauma is you don't trust,
Yeah.
you don't feel safe, So if you can do those two things for that team member, they can trust you and feel safe in their environment, then it's already a win.
Right. That's amazing. All right. So,
Right, all day I could talk about it.
so I know you teach classes on this subject too. So they can join your Facebook group and you go live often, right?
Yep. I mean, probably the best place to see me talk about the trauma stuff is my Facebook page,
Okay.
the Kim Russell page. I talk about it somewhat in the Facebook group, but mostly on the page.
Okay, great. So anybody listening, if you're going through some issues or you have some team members that you think that are going through some stuff, join Kim's page, because yes, she's not going to have all the answers, but at least she can have some resources and help you get the resources that you need. And we'll be excited to see her book. Do you think it's coming out this 2024?
No, 2023. I'm hoping by the fall.
Awesome.
I mean, it was supposed to be done in the spring, but obviously that didn't happen because I can't stop writing. But
where will you have that release? Is it going to be like on Amazon or is it through your website, do you feel?
both, yeah, both.
Okay.
It's going to be self-published, so
Thanks.
but I didn't want anybody telling me to take anything out of the book.
Are you, you know what? Wonderful. And are you allowed to say the name of the book yet or no? Is that
Not yet. I'm going to have
okay?
a little contest around that.
Okay, very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being at the PA show. I know people had a really good time with you, and you help a lot of people. And I appreciate you telling your story out there so that other people listening may be going through some things too.
Thank you. And I appreciate you and all that you do for the beauty industry. Your drive and your dedication is just inspirational.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know what? I should actually say something about salon training real quick, because I usually show it, but I'm not going to show the thing real quick. But if you're a trainer, an educator, a coach that's out there, and you are not part of our salontraining.com website yet, we encourage you to do so. Right now, for a limited time, we have zero cost. So I'm going to say that again, zero cost for you as a trainer right now, limited time. You can go in and put you're going to go to Salon Training, you'll add a listing, and you're going to add your information, your Facebook, your social medias, your Instagram, your phone number, if you'd like, your email, your website. And then if we have someone that's in our Facebook group that says, hey, I'd really like to take a class, or I'm struggling with this, then your name will be in our directory so that we can actually share that out, and they can find you. Also, if you are a vendor, you have a product company and you're listening to this, we also have that offer for you right now for a limited time. You can put up to 5 of your products. So Kim, whenever you have your book, you're more than welcome to put it on our website. We take 0 fees on your products, 0 commission, 0 anything for your products. You put your link to your Amazon or your website or wherever it sells. And then that way more beauty professionals can find the resources that they need. We also will be talking about this in about a half an hour. So it is, if you're watching this on the replay, this is Monday, June 12th at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about our new membership that we've been working really hard on. It is going to be, and listen to this price, because people think I'm nuts, $4.99, not $499, which everybody thought it was, $4.99 for right now, a limited time. We are going to be starting this in July. I forget the date. I forgot it on my notes, July 10th or something. You will get 12 classes a year for $4.99 a month. So for the entire year, $59.88. That's not even one class, right?
Crazy.
So, right?
That's crazy.
And we
It's
have
amazing.
educators like Nikki Lee that's going to be teaching you a class. Donna Hogg, all kinds of different things. I'm not sure if Kim, if you were teaching a class on there, not to put you on the spot, but I can't remember. I had a list.
Yep.
Okay.
You asked, I said yes. Yeah. Anything
Awesome.
to give back to the industry, really. I mean, education is so huge. You're doing amazing.
That's awesome. So take a class with Kim, and you'll get one every single month, and it's virtual live with the educator. So you come in with the other people and you can ask questions to the trainers. You can have that class at the comfort of your own home or your or salon or whatever. If you can't attend one, no problem. We actually just send it to you. There's also quarterly mastermind groups that you'll be invited to, and a couple other things. And I'll save that for a live at 1 or 11 o'clock. So you're going to want to hear about it because we're also going to give away a free one. So if you're joining us live right now, come back at 11 o'clock and we'll talk more about it. So thank you so much, Kim. I can't wait to see you in Pennsylvania. We'll be announcing the date of the show soon, and I'll let all the trainers know first.
Can't wait.
So,
Tracy.
okay, thanks so much. Okay, bye.
Bye.